Hello, chicos and chicas. I messed up this recording. I thought I was recording and then I realized there was no red dot. Let me tell you what happened. I said my opponent is gonna play bishop f4. They didn't. They played knight e5. And at this point, I had a big mantra. I really want you to hear this, so I'm so upset that I didn't press record. When knight e5 landed on the board, I said, I have two candidate moves. Bishop f5, c5. And if you are looking at any other move outside of those two, I think there is a strong chance that you're thinking wrong. 97 may be one, but I feel like after bishop f4, I don't really like where this whole thing is going. e6 I dislike because it blocks in the bishop. And so, yeah, bishop f5 or c5, that's it. And see, this is a textbook example of how differently higher rated players, IMs, GMs, whatever, work versus a 1400 player. Because for a 1400 player after 95, it would be virtually like a whole universe of candidate moves. And they would look at a myriad of ideas. e6, knight d7, knight c6, b6, g6, c5. But fundamentally, what I need to do here is to exploit the fact that they have played two moves with the same piece. So I created immediately some friction by playing c5. They responded with e3. And I went like, well, that puts no pressure on me whatsoever. I was told to develop knights before bishops. Knight c6, thank you very much. And at this point, my opponent, I expected to play bishop b5, which I was happy to meet with queen b6. Now, c3 tells me that this dude is obsessed with the stonewall setup, and he is looking to play f4 against anything and everything I can throw at this dude. And since I would like a challenge, I'm going to embrace this, and I will play bishop f5. Note again, developing move. Now this is a bit risque, because g4 could be a bit of a pesky idea here, harassing my bishop, but I'm borderline 100% certain about f4 coming. The only alternative is bishop b5, queen b6, queen a4, piling up on the c6 knight, but I just play rook c8 and it's fully covered, and then I can kick the bishop with a6. I'm golden. This is something that people are always scared of, this pile up, and I can't emphasize this enough, that I really want you to appreciate how I am completely on the ball with what is about to hit me. Not in a way that, wow, this guy is impressive. What I want you to do is to be able to replicate this, right? This is when you feel you are playing good chess. When you, in your head, call out your opponent's moves, you have the remedy against them, and then they pop on the board. Nothing beats that feeling. So now I called already queen a4, rook c8, and in fact I finished this line with a6. Likely all of those moves will be played out. So yeah, that's brilliant news. I was saying while I was off record that I'm recording this at 7:20. Back then I said 7:15, which is relevant because in 40 minutes time we are going to have the World Championship match final game. Ladies and gentlemen, we might have a new world champion, we might have a two-time world champion, we might not have any of the above. The excitement and the nerd, the chills are through the roof. Quick reflection on the game for the time being, or so far rather. I have deployed 3 minor pieces, queen and rook, and I have a greater chunk of the center than they do. They developed 2 minors versus my 3, and yeah. Now, I've got a6, I've got e6. And I'm kind of reluctant to make a call yet. Yeah. Let's just develop. I just want to go e6, bishop d6, castles, and then I'm gonna kick the bishop with a6. Yep, alright, that's another terrible idea. So he chose the literal worst, and I would have never guessed that move coming. The worst time to take me on c5 by a kilometer, because I just played e6. So now I can retake with the bishop rather than having to retake with the queen, which would still be preferable for black, by the way, because now white just gave up center. right? So everything my opponent is doing is wrong, but not only is it wrong, but most of it is really badly timed too. Now I'm guessing b4 is the grand idea, which does absolutely nothing other than forcing my bishop to a better square. And I really don't mean to be condescending or dismissive or too cocky. No, I guess that incorrectly. But yeah, this was really, really not good. And once again, look at this versus backrank fest. So now I'm quite keen to pull the bishop back and start thinking about hurting my opponent there. Knight e4 is also very tempting, by the way, which would... Ooh, knight e4, knight e2. I have knight f2, rook f2, bishop f e3 wins. But knight e4, knight e2, rook f, knight f2, king f2, bishop e3 check, king e1. Ooh, that is close. Oh, man. Also, after knight e4, knight d2, I might have bishop e3. Knight takes e4, bishop c1, knight d6 check. No, I do not. Okay. So knight e4, knight d2, knight f2, king f2, bishop takes e3 check, king f1. And I have no win there. The reason why I wanted to play knight e4, apart from the fact that it centralizes my knight beautifully, is because I wanted to cut this queen out from swinging across. It's not a biggie, but it would make my attack, later on attack on the king's side a little bit more challenging to carry out. But okay, let's just castle. It's fine. Knight e2 or b4. These are the two moves we are expecting and nothing else. And now I'm thinking about pushing this pawn all the way up here to gain some space, also to cut the queen out, but also because I anticipate knight f3, and then e4 is going to kick that knight, and then when I come back to d6, I'm now going to have a genuinely red-hot attack against h2. Sorry, I played this phase too fast, so let's talk about what went through my head here. And it might not have been best at all, by the way, but I really wanted to deny the queen to swing across because it would have been a handy defender. The more important thing was that I wanted to gain space. What it does is it steals the bishop, it kicks the knight out of f3, and as you can see, my pieces, even though sometimes I pulled back, are gradually shifting toward the king. And at the same time, their pieces, although they tried to enter the king's side, they got shooed away immediately and back toward the middle and the queen side. Now, granted, it's in the center, so it stands well-ish. But it's definitely not going to be a potent piece when it comes to guarding the king. Right now, I have an almost game-winning threat with c5. The reason I'm saying almost is because bishop b5 would have dealt with it. Now, this is one of those textbook cases when your opponent is forcing you to play a good move, and you should always embrace that. Now, I'm thinking whether I should go queen c7 or queen b8, both of which will attack this. Let me think about this for a second. Okay, I will come back to c7 and I'm going to explain to you why too. Because this move, after an expected h3, is going to allow me to play rook b8. Do I even want rook b8? Yeah, I do. Because I wanted to play c5. The idea is to force take and then jump the queen to the king side like so. Which will immediately again exploit the pawn on h3 because bishop takes. Maybe I'm going a bit too deep here. So the idea is c5 take, and basically I want to reshuffle these two. But at least make way for the queen to go to the front, and then if I pull the bishop back, that's a mate threat. Or if I swing across with the queen, then there's a g5 pin and the h3 pawn is hanging. And you are asking why I couldn't do that from b8. I could. I was just thinking that maybe it's best if I combine it with rook b8, rook b6, kicking the queen out, and also allowing a rook shift, rook lift, rook swing across to the king side type of story with that maneuver. So there's a fair bit cooking at the moment. Maybe I'm being over ambitious. But let's see. The fact that my opponent is thinking here is very concerning. Because h2 is hanging and bishop takes h2 needs to be dealt with instantly. Yeah, h3, rook b8. I said h3 and my phone went, uh-oh, that's Siri. No. Siri, go away. I said Siri and rook b8, and it came up with number 8 rugby position, rugby union position, the role of a number 8 in rugby. Wow, don't you love Siri? Okay, knight b3. Yeah. Very unfortunate because it doesn't quite allow me to demonstrate the entirety of the idea that I was going after. But on the flip side, we're going to give a beautiful checkmate. So, watch this. Check. And now we're going to come in from here. Except I just realized that that is not going anywhere because that square is still not accessible. So let me think for a second. Bishop g4 is interesting. Only problem is there's nothing because the bishop is guarded. But it does have a lot of tactical venom to it, which I want to show you, so I will play it. Number one, if they play f3, I have queen g3, fg4, queen h4, and the mate with bishop g3 and then queen here is unstoppable. That's number one. Number two, after bishop takes knight takes f3, I have bishop g1, which is a delightfully beautiful move. And if either minor piece gets captured, I still have queen h2 mate. Note that ever since my opponent played knight b3, I haven't been talking anything but mate, 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 and precise lines calculated, right? Now, after g3, I wanted to do queen e5, which is a little bit speculative, but I quite like it. The idea being king h2, queen h5 check, and if king g2, then bishop f3 check. Bishop takes, pawn takes, king g1, queen h3, and queen g2 mate is unstoppable. Welcome to Hikaru arrows. That was very neat. If g3, queen e5, bishop takes, then I take back with the knight and the bishop is untouchable. And I'm coming in from here, here, and here, here as well. Essentially, the game is resignable. Yeah, I wish they had played here h3 instead of knight b3. Yeah, this would have been nice. And then, like I said, I was planning rook b8, rook up, queen goes back somewhere, c5 takes, bishop takes. Yeah, it would still have been, it would have required from me quite a bit of engineering the right setup still, but I think we would have got there. Yeah, now we are expecting all kinds of problems and mate scenarios. Tuk tuk. This is our generic plan. Nothing to be done. Also note, by the way, but I guess I have blown my trumpet enough about this, is that look how I'm dominating the center. Far more space. Note how my pieces are much better developed, much more harmoniously organized. That's a good move, actually. I missed that altogether, but don't I still have this? Then g3. I mean, I'll just go f5. And now I even have this. I expect still f3. Queen g3 takes and then queen back. That's a beautiful mate pattern. Bugger. Can't go for that. So I see the mate already, but it's not going to be the one I announced. Reason? After queen g3, there is queen e1. Now, the killer about that is that I don't think that my opponent would play it. I do think that queen g3 feels so counterintuitive, right? Because I'm just parking the queen on top of the bishop. So it looks like the least likely way to get mate. But actually, after fg, queen h4, they can't stop, said mate. Now, maybe g3 actually does stop it. So, what I was going to tell you was that we are going to go for the mate with bishop e first. And after fg, we are going to go queen e7. Probably there are many ways to skin that cat, but this is going to be ours. And queen h4 is not stoppable other than g5. I will take that, and then this mate is not stoppable. Now, I don't know if I am sending a powerful enough message here, but we were about at this phase of the game when I told you about the fact that I wanted to conduct a kingside attack. Now, that was not necessarily realistic in the sense that the position right now does not warrant a kingside attack. So in order to make it happen, it wasn't my desire, like, or rather I should say that was a desire. Exactly, that's what that was. I had a desire to attack on the king side, but the position doesn't warrant it. It warrants a lot of ideas in the sense that I've got so much freedom because of my superior development, superior central control. I can play for whatever, right? But in order for this desire to work in the given circumstances, I needed to do exactly this. This pawn advance in the center, hello chess principles, is what facilitated the kingside attack. Because what it has accomplished was that it kicked out the key defender and created a barrier between queenside and kingside. And although even here I took a fair while to bring all my boys back toward the enemy king, once again you can clearly see that now this is no longer a desire. It is a very, very real scenario. By the way, now I'm looking at it, maybe the best way to conduct this attack would have been queen d8, queen e7, queen e5. And I particularly would have liked to play this because it hangs a7 and I would have loved them to take that, wasting even more time. Anyway, bishop f5, sorry, rook f5, and now we have got a mate in 3. I should play it out because I got told that it's not good if I leave my opponents hanging in amidst the mate attack. So there we have it. I think that this was a really instructive game. In particular because it demonstrated a couple of concepts there that I think a lot of people would have got wrong or different or challenging. Starting with... yeah, I knew that this was going to happen. Starting with not knowing what to do against knight e5. And by the way, I'm very curious. Like, I'm happy to roast myself. Ha! Second best is e6. Yeah, I didn't like this. C4, whatever. But for sure, c5 was best. So, yeah. Yeah, knight c6. The engine like g6 more. Timid. Don't worry. Don't believe your engine. Bishop f5. Again, the engine like queen c7. But I found this counterintuitive to force f4. I thought it was coming. Queen b6 was good. Rook c8 good. e6 good. Take good. 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 Huh. Not the engine's fair. Yeah, the engine wanted to pull back first. And that's fair enough. Because that also makes way for both of the pawn pushes depending on which one is appropriate. But I really wanted to pursue this kingside attack agenda. And as you can see, by now we are doing minus 1.25. And that just lost the game. Knight g4 was even better. Little difference. And bishop g3 got the double exclam, ladies and gentlemen. We even pulled off a brilliancy. And then a checkmate. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, so what did we do in this game? Well, everything. But what I really meant was being focused on development, central control, and facilitating an attack on the king side. So making sure that we only did it when the circumstances were right. So first we pushed everybody out of the way, creating new diagonals, new attacking avenues, and then Boomski, baby, let's go. So that was us for the speedrun next episode. 1444, not bad. I feel like we are now getting to the phase where I can really demonstrate cool ideas, cool plans, and how good chess is being played. Let's go full webcam because we roll in greater sizes as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, to leave a comment, to sub if you haven't done so, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.